Yeah, I guess let's get this started. I'm excited to see what you guys think about the project. I definitely got very intrigued by it, and I know like you guys saw it on my Twitter and stuff about like how good the gameplay teaser was. Did you guys see the gameplay teaser? I posted in our Discord as well.
Yep.
What's kind of like what were your guys like first thoughts when you saw it?
Well, I think in terms of the graphics, I feel like it looks very much like Star Atlas. I feel like the assets
Okay,
that they've used, the 3D assets anyway, that they've used were fairly similar. I don't know if they're like baseline assets or if they're actually customized, and you know, that's one
interesting.
that's one big thing that Web3 games, particularly that are using Unreal Engine, are getting criticized for is the fact that they're using default models. So, but
Yeah.
I'm not too sure if they are, but I mean, it looks good, obviously. And
Hmm.
I wasn't sure if it was the video or if it just felt like it was a little bit framey at times. Maybe I'm being too critical, but um, no, overall, I think it was, yeah, it's definitely an exciting project.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah, I think it would be very exciting to talk about. Yeah, again, I spent my whole weekend on this, so I'm really curious. Like, I kind of don't consider myself a newcomer anymore. And the community there, actually, yeah, they're already like replying here, like people are really liking the article. I really appreciate that. Maybe we get like some discussion here as well with them. Like, that's the first thing, even though the whole research was kind of hard to do. There's like the info is not in the place you would expect, and like it's all like scattered around. But like the community like more than makes up for it. It's kind of like a bit, it sounds maybe like an overstatement, but yeah, I think this was like the most engaging community. I was kind of in like from all the crypto gaming communities. I also told them like this, and I like how everyone was pretty balanced. Not like you would find in like other projects, like everyone was like very hyped or like really like shitting everything and not really looking at any negatives. I felt like people were pretty mature about the shortcomings. So I'm actually looking forward to like if some people with more experience will like engage with us and stuff. So yeah, let's see. Most of all, I'm curious like what you guys think about it, because the gameplay trailer amazing, and let's kind of like dive into like the way we do it normally with looking at the project, looking at the things underneath as well, because Ricky, like you said, like we were discussing, like good visuals are not enough. I think you made a good point with Unreal 5 engine. I don't know how hard it is to make something that looks good, right? And uh, the gameplay, they're like making it like an engaging experience will be what brings people back. So let's see yeah, what we have going on. So I think like first off, we have to talk about like what do they want to do, and I think for us, like with the project, we like the type of projects we are used to. I would compare it to like it kind of wants to be something like Decentraland or Sandbox in terms of like being a metaverse, but like on steroids. Like everything being like way higher quality and way better like thought through detail. So I think yeah, like I said here, like the ambitions are very, very high. The vision is like kind of crazy. They kind of like want to take over like the metaverse world, and their vision is, yeah, everyone is here like having millions of users. Or you can do like you have all kinds of experiences here in this metaverse. So right off the bat, I think they have very, very high, like very high, very high targets. And I'm curious to see like how they will execute on that. That makes like, I would describe this project as if this goes through, if they actually pull this off, this would be like game changing. This will be like huge. So yeah, like I said here, yeah, it's like built on Ethereum, Unreal Engine 5, and Zero is like their own project, which I did not research it that much, but it looks like it's kind of like their own like social network, like blockchain, that they actually also build this themselves. So this is like a second project of theirs, which is more like, yeah, it's kind of like it has like ENS domain and stuff like that, the equivalent of that. So that's like interesting stuff there as well, but we'll stick to the gaming stuff. The game is set, in Miami. You guys will see a lot of this this W letters in there, which is, I think, that's one of the first things. The city of Miami is actually a one-to-one representation of Miami, built by with topographic LiDAR or whatever that's called. So it's really one-to-one replica of the city of Miami, but changes in the buildings, structures and everything. But the map is basically one-to-one, just in the future or something, more like cyberpunk kind of style. And also the map, Miami, from what I understand, is 19 times bigger than GTA 5, than the GTA 5 map. So it's gonna be huge. Their proposition is everything will be NFTs. So they will have this whole economy where you can trade everything. You have cars, you have your own flats, you have your cribs, you have shoes. They have really sick shoes. I've been very impressed with their visuals. They are collaborating with some pretty sick artists in terms of the visual stuff. So that's very good. And so that's kind of and everything will be governed by the community, by the way. So you will have a lot of DAOs. You will have the revenue distribution is 100% back, like Illuvium is doing it. 100% of the revenue will be distributed back to the community. I think that's also pretty cool. And I think this is basically summed it up well. Their goal is to establish a virtual nation state powered by AAA quality NFTs. They call it the network state. And that's kind of the overall vision. Does this vision make sense so far? We're going to go into specifics, but I want to see if this kind of makes sense what they're trying to build overall.
It's just basically another metaverse. We've seen a lot of these, so it'd be interesting to see how they differentiate themselves. Deehin asked a question, can you PK? We'll get into the gameplay soon, I think. I think Daniel probably has some. Definitely has some gameplay stuff to go into, so perhaps we can talk about that in a bit. But it does make sense. I'm not gonna lie, at the moment I'm skeptical, but I'm ready to be sold, because there have been a lot of metaverses. So let's see how this goes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. That's my question as well about this, which is what is the gameplay like? Because you raised before, Daniel, Unreal Engine 5 is pretty. It's I'm not sure. None of us are developers here, but I've had a look at Unreal Engine 5, and Unreal Engine 5 is really fantastic when it comes to making shit look good. Putting graphics in games. There's a lot of tools on there to make it really nice, to look really nice, and that's why you get a lot of these games that are built on Unreal straight away being highlighted by us when we have a look at Twitter and we have a look at promos. It catches your eye, right? Because they're very good graphically. So that's my only question, is what is actually the gameplay of this game? Do they have any gameplay? Do they have modes? Do they have, I know I read your article, Daniel. I know they have the racing mode, which isn't out yet. Yeah, maybe you can get into the gameplay a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. Right now, I just want to see we're just all on the same page with overall what's the category we kind of put this in. And I think metaverse is the most accurate one, the most even though metaverse is very vague, I think that's probably the best one we can put it right now in. With the progress, so again, this is gonna be spicy. I think it's gonna be some good things, bad things, and I know all of you guys are unbiased. This is the kind of an early preview for you guys, so I want to hear. I know we've been pretty critical. I like how we are unbiased and not really going for the hype stuff with everyone. So I see Dorothy says Wilderworld is basically building everything from scratch. Every building is procedurally generated. Okay. Yeah, I know they are using quite a bit of AI and machine learning for the game development. Again, I don't know in what ways, But I know they've been doing quite a bit of that as well. I know they're working, and we're talking about that. Like, I know they're working with architects, like actually legit, like serious architects, like kind of pretty renowned for like the interior design of these flats. Like they're going to be selling and stuff. So very interesting things going on in this project. Okay, so yeah, 3 different roadmaps have been mentioned on the website. Yeah, we have like exciting updates like the NFT, like the comic series. They have like a lot of stuff being like prepared and launched. That has launched with the NFTs and stuff. For the final game, yeah, there is no launch date. Yeah, and now like this is one of the kind of like, in a way, positive things that one of the founders, Frank Wilder, like it seems like they are going in the Discord community a lot. They're like very open and they're like talking to everyone. And I got to ask him about this. So I won't lie, they came across as pretty disorganized with their like timeline, like roadmaps. You know how we kind of like try to see, okay, what are they trying to accomplish? What have they accomplished so far? Have they stuck to their roadmaps, right? Like how serious are they? Like how organized? How are they like delivering, sticking to timelines? What's the plan for the future? Is it like a concise plan? Is it like explicit? And I think this is one of the areas they're not doing very well in terms of, from this project, I'm kind of getting this vibe of like, they're kind of disorganized. Like a lot of them are creative spirits, let's say, like very good creatively. And I think their execution and organization is like where they lack. That they're big like visionaries, but I feel like they're not very organized. That's kind of like, okay, it's Mariana from Zaha Hadid. I don't know who that is, but yeah, it kind of sounds pretty baller. That's the architect, by the way. I know that much. Okay. So that's kind of one thing. Their progress so far, they did release quite some things, but it seems they're kind of behind. And I want to share, actually, I'm gonna pull up on the like one of the roadmaps on the screen for you guys. Can you guys see it? It's from my article. If you guys can see the...
Yep, we can see it. Yep.
Yeah. Actually, I can also double see it on screen. Okay, so basically, this is the first roadmap, 2021, and here, like, I don't know how much of these they launched, but I definitely know the play to earn. The racing loop launch. They still haven't released that. So, but they still want to release it. So they wanted to release it in December 2021. Again, that's quite some time ago. It's like actually December. So yeah, it's like 1 year ago. Still hasn't been released. They still want to like, this is the first like game they will release to the public, let's say. But I think this is a good display of like, they're not really hitting the targets, and the targets kind of keep moving, it seems, with their progress. But I think that will be a theme here, where they're not very organized. They have like big ambitions, big goals. So I'm definitely keen to see what their approach right now is. Actually, by the way, I have the quote here from Frank Wilder when I asked him like, hey, like this kind of looks pretty disorganized. Why? No, like there is no roadmap right now. There is no present roadmap. There's no like timeline. And he said basically here, like, we're not planning on releasing a roadmap, rather sharing frequent progress on the development of Wilderworld. And we found that it's easy to get caught up in the trap of setting expectations and talking about what will come, which can naturally change. So again, their vision is like, that's kind of like one thing. They're kind of like a bit, they're changing their visions, I think, like pretty often, and what they want to execute on. Our new plan is to actually show where we are at and what's being accomplished through frequent demo releases, as opposed to saying we will do X by a certain date. Okay. So in terms of like timelines, roadmaps, execution, development, what do you guys think so far here?
I mean, just touching on, roadmaps are an interesting thing. I think from an investor's perspective, they're useful. I mean, if you invest your money into something, you definitely want to see progress. From a gamer's perspective, you probably don't care. You just want to see trailers and gameplay. So depending on who, it's difficult. Like for the development team, they got to work out, you know, like what's more important, the investor or the gamer. And I feel like at the moment, Web3 gaming is moving away from the whole, you know, let's make money from this. It's more, the narrative is let's make a fun game and let's cater it towards gamers and onboard your mainstream gaming community. So by not having roadmaps, I guess it kind of makes sense if you're targeting the gamers, as long as you're putting out, you know, leaks. I think that's what other good Web3 gaming projects do, is they put out leaks of gameplay, you know, new art design or, you know, new mechanics and showing them off. I think that's more important for the gaming community. But as an investor, I would be very, I'm going to be a little bit more skeptical if there's no, if they're not going to start meeting, if they're not going to set timelines and not meet the timelines.
That's actually, that's a good distinction you've made. Yeah, I agree. So you're saying, like from the gamer standpoint, like the user standpoint, it's not that bad, right? Like it's not having like precise timelines, and like we saw, like with Illuvium, for example. I mean, like with the Illuvium example, like they are also very late on delivering a lot of their stuff, but you would rather them be late and deliver something quality than like meet the timeline and like they release something shit and it's not finished, and that probably is worse off for them, right? I think that's a big one. Okay, actually, someone from the Discord here, from their Discord, it would be great to have a YouTube channel with latest updates lately. A lot are getting this exposure and updates like Gala and Illuvium. Considering what Wilderworld is doing, I'm surprised nobody has jumped on this. Yeah, I have noticed also over the last 24 hours, enthusiasm within the community has gone down a bit. I guess it would be nice to see some more action. Surprised, especially with the gameplay coming out. Okay,
well,
interesting.
I mean, that's a perfect example, right, of what we're talking about. Like, as a gamer, I don't care about like some partnership that you're going to have planned or like the contract that's, you know, going to be released or whatever. Like, for me, I want to see like what's the game going to look like, what's the mechanics going to look like, the gameplay. So I mean, I always refer back to Illuvium, but they seem to do a really good job at this. Even though they are late on some of their development dates, they almost every second day, or maybe even every day, sometimes it's every day, sometimes it's every second day, they put something out. It could just be a screenshot of the developers, you know, making something. It just makes it interesting. Like it's kind of like a gameplay loop. I want to go to the Illuvium Discord because I want to see what's new. When I see the little red notification on Illuvium, I'm like, it's either going to be an awesome announcement or it's going to be a leak. And either way, I'm going to be pretty happy about it. So I think constant updates.
Yeah, actually, I brought the leaks here.
Okay, so they do have a leaks. They do have a leaks thread, and it seems. I mean, how active is it?
So this is like yesterday. This is like 2 days ago. Yeah, it seems like they are posting frequently
pretty
here.
Actively. Okay, that's good. Yeah, even stuff like this. I know this is not specifically gameplay stuff. Oh, here we go. We see a little bit more map creation here, but I think it's important just to post something, even if it's just like these, those images, which I know probably didn't take them much effort, but
Yeah, these are like the apes. I think they're partnership with Cyberkongs, and you can have these as NFTs, transforming them or something. Okay, I think maybe this is like Miami, I guess. Yeah, they do seem active with engaging with the community and posting leaks and stuff. So, by the way, since I know like people should know you're a big Illuvium believer. They will have the Illuvium towers in their game. They are partnered with Illuvium as well.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, so it looks like they're partnering up with some big names in the Web3 space. I wonder.
They have like some big partners.
Do they have a partnership with Bored Ape?
I think Cyberkongs, but I can check. They definitely have a lot of big partnerships, a lot of very big ones, but I did not mention those in the article because again it was already very long. But
fair enough.
In their wiki, That's something you can find as opposed to other stuff. Let's see. It's pretty easy to find.
So
The community created
Dorothy
stuff.
says no partnership with Bored Ape, and they also mentioned that the apes are made by Wilderworld. So thank you once again for the insight. This is good.
Yeah, I told you the. Oh, wait, I took the wrong page up. The community there. So I think there, like, since we're like on the community part as well, like I think there is a big information gap from people within the community and people outside. And like all of the stuff I learned from them, like a ton of the stuff I learned from them, it's hard to like find out that much about the project if you're not in the community. Basically, the community here is everything. And even though like I'm skeptical, I'm still skeptical, probably will be skeptical on some things. A lot of the community seems pretty rational and they are really hyped about the project, which kind of makes me believe like they probably know more about us. And I can see how there is a lot of information asymmetry from someone outside and from someone like on the inside. Okay, let's move on to the next part. The team. Okay, this yeah, this is gonna be the one of the more controversial / interesting parts because the team is mostly anonymous. Only a few members are publicly known. Yeah, the team does come across as pretty eccentric with how they present themselves and their like whole like characters and personalities. Let me bring this up here as well. I mean, for you guys that did not see the article, I mean, these are some of the founders. Two of the founders, Frank Wilder and Phoenix Wilder. So I guess maybe this is Phoenix on the left. The true fans will know, the true followers. So yeah, first of all, like when I saw they're anonymous, one of the co-founders is first of all, they have a lot of co-founders. There's a lot of team, like on the founding team is huge. Like there's like 5-6 people, between 4 and 6. And one of them is Docs. Like I searched him on LinkedIn. He's a CEO of Web3 investment advisory firm. He has like experience in this kind of like digital worlds and stuff. I think this guy's legit. One of the founders, he's public. Lack of experience in the gaming industry is a concern. So that's one bad thing that I did not really like, which I think is a kind of like a red flag a bit, where in their wiki, their like documentation, you don't really find anything about the team. And okay, I get it that you want to be anonymous, and it's actually the anonymous vibe, like them coming up with these like masks, and you see like these pictures of them, and I think this kind of creates a mystique around them. It's kind of like it makes it a bit interesting in a way. The way they present themselves and like this anonymous vibe. And one of them like is like Neo, referencing obviously the Matrix. Is a programmer, like one of the big players in the development team, like one of the founders. So it does create some mystique. I think it does create some kind of like more like of a cult thing, because it kind of makes it more different than other Discords and other founding teams. They kind of build up this eccentricity around them. First I was like, okay, anonymous, obviously not good, right? But then it does seem like from what I've seen, like talking to these people, these are still like they are long standing in their industries. They're not like just someone who just popped up. And I think a lot of them they have like quite good credentials, even though they are anonymous. But I don't like that they don't mention anything about themselves anywhere, even to come up with the team members, the founding members. Like someone in Discord showed them, like it wrote about them and gave me their socials. They have Instagrams and stuff, but where they are also anonymous. So that was a bit of a turn off, because my question is, how big of like experience? That's what I did not find. Like how big of an experience will they have in gaming? I know like they're programming, they're artists, but that's not enough, obviously, for creating an engaging experience. So that's one of the issues here. And I'm curious, what you guys think with this I think the fact that they did deliver a very good gameplay teaser, I think that's a good sign. But I don't like, in terms of the team, like they seem competent, but there is again a lot of mystique, which is I think both good and bad. What do you guys think about like the team aspect here?
Yeah, I personally feel like it's, I don't know, this, I had a quick look on LinkedIn as well. There was a few people on LinkedIn. I had a look at their website, and from someone that's just recently seeing this project, the first time I'm really looking at it, I can't really find any former gaming members or former gaming executives or game designers. So they're not really flexing any game designers or people that have worked on big games before, like, you know, a former Call of Duty person or a former Activision person or whatever you want to call it, right? Which you see with a lot of projects. Obviously, that's not the most important thing in the world, but it just gives it a platform. It gives a project a little bit of legitimacy when you know there are people that have a bit of experience making a game. Because I think it's important, as you said, Daniel, if you have a game where they don't know how to make a game, then how are they suddenly just going to make the best game in the world? Do you know what I mean? Like this massive Metaverse GTA style game that's going to be so successful. I just don't believe it. And maybe they do, and we just haven't seen it yet. Like, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt for now. But from what I can see, it's a lot to do with artistry. And I even asked Dorothy in the chat about like the artwork and stuff. And I looked up, and the reason why I asked him that question is because I looked up a few articles on this, and a lot of the articles are talking about the artwork, how there's a famous tower and like an architecturally unique building that they're putting in the game. There's no real talk of the game development and gameplay. And yeah, Dordzy said game devs are actually anonymous, so yeah, we don't know them. And that might be, they might be quite good at making games, but if you don't know that they have experience, we can only go off what we can see. And at the moment, I can't really see much game development, like in terms of gameplay and game mechanics, more specifically. So all I can assume is that they're focusing more on the artwork than the actual game.
Yeah. That's very good insight, and that's actually very accurate, Roden, for like someone that did not follow the project too much. Yeah, that's very accurate. I think a lot of the focus is on like the creator side, the artistic side, the design, the visuals. There's like a lot of emphasis on this. I think there's like, I do believe actually there's a lot of quality there. I don't know if you guys saw the sneakers, the kicks, they're actually very good design. I would definitely buy that in real life as well. They're like, everything looks really sick. I think they have a lot of good partnerships with creators, a lot of talent on the visual creative side. But yeah, I don't really see the talent on the gaming side. And I think that kind of shows if you tone it back, if you like dial it back to the roadmaps and timelines, I think that kind of shows, right? Like they don't really know what they want to build, I feel like. And it kind of shows maybe they don't really have in their team, they don't really have a lot of experience with gaming and building games. Because I'm seeing that lack of clear vision and organization. For example, Illuvium, right? Like Illuvium, you know what they want to do. Like you run around the map, you capture, you mine stuff, and you capture Illuviums, like these kind of Pokemon things, and you like make them battle each other. It's simple, right? I just explained the whole game. But I think the lack of clear vision on this project, yeah, it's a way more ambitious project, but it's also, I think that is a concern. I think maybe that does show their lack of experience in terms of like gaming. So yeah, I think there are some issues with the team. And I do believe, I mean, let's not be, come on, like I do believe this is a bit of a concern. Like this is kind of a red flag. Like we don't know like the experience of the team. You're just like, okay, just believe we're going to do this and we're going to pull this out. But it feels like their vision is constantly changing in terms of like how they want to implement things. So
as Skull said, this is definitely something that feels like a metaverse rather than an actual game, right? So yeah, they have plans for mini games, and like as Doherty said, they've got a plan for racing and a plan for also combat stuff. But yeah, like when we talk about metaverse related things that are just purely metaverse, it's difficult because these sort of projects are so ambitious and they require so much design, and they almost require like such a unique form of entertainment where it's not really it hasn't really been discovered and released before.
Yes.
So it's a completely different realm of entertainment, right? Whereas like at Gameonomics, for anyone that doesn't know, we look at specifically games. So we look at gaming projects and we look at games that are trying to compete with the already successful gaming industry now. Whereas when I look at a project like this and it's targeting a whole holistic metaverse approach, where's its comparison? Who is it competing with? So it's inventing and creating all these things from scratch, really, which is a credit to them because it's a very ambitious project. But it also makes me think, okay, can they really do this? And maybe I'm being a hater, but it's just that's how it is.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, just to touch on the metaverse thing, in terms of comparisons. Yeah, like RDZ said, we're venturing off into something that we haven't really seen before. I guess in a more, let's call it a more one-dimensional platform, a metaverse is effectively something like a Twitter or a Facebook or a Reddit, because you're having people come, joining communities, and effectively, having discussions. It's basically a forum, right? Like all these social media platforms are effectively online forums. And I think what the metaverse, well, at least my theory is that what metaverses are trying to do is, rather than you going onto like that one-dimensional Twitter, which is literally text, why not enter like the Twitter metaverse where you can jump in, you have a character, your avatar, which is, I guess, your profile picture, an advanced version of your profile picture. You go in and you can, engage with perhaps a business, and they have some sort of expo that's on, and perhaps they have like real life images or videos or something like that. And there are, I mean, once again, it depends on how you're positioning your metaverse. I know there was a project ages ago that I used to follow. It was called RFox, and they were creating a metaverse for shopping. So that, that made sense. There was a direction there, and there's a reason for people to come back to that metaverse. The issue when you create something like this, where it's just like a metaverse, how are you going to get people to come back? And I think the reason why they're trying to get people to come back is through these mini games, right? It's like you can come, there's a bunch of mini games, you can flex your NFTs, you can, perhaps there definitely should be a social aspect to it. I'm sure we're going to get into it. So there, how do you get people coming back is always the biggest question, right? The reason why people come back on Twitter is because people, there's a lot of shit talk, there's banter, there's actually legitimate stuff there as well. Why do people go on Facebook? So they can see what their friends are doing. They can post their own stuff about their life, and I guess a lot of people also use Facebook Messenger. So there's direct reasons. If there's no direct reason for you to come onto this metaverse, there's a problem. I think that's how we should judge this project as we move forward.
Yeah, I think very fair points. And exactly. Like it will not mainly be a game. So let's say maybe like the game stuff, the gaming element is less important. But yes, at the end of the day, you still want to create an engaging experience. That you still want, like you said, Ricky, you still want people to come back. You still want to make an experience where people are like, okay, I want to go back in there tomorrow. And I don't think that's straightforward. I don't think that's, it just happens. I think that's deliberate work. I think that's deliberate planning, the deliberate design of the metaverse itself. So they are trying this is very new territory. Like nobody has pulled it off. If you look at Sandbox and Decentraland, who goes there? Like nobody goes there. I was looking in Decentraland actually some time ago because I was also doing some research on their decentral games, which is their poker, their virtual poker. That's the only use case they have so far. And that's where in Decentraland, that's where most of the people were. Nobody was anywhere else in this whole Decentraland in the Decentraland metaverse. So I don't think it's going to be easy. Here, the visuals would be way better, but I don't know if that would be enough either. So I think the metaverse narrative has not been solved yet. They don't really know how to make a compelling experience yet. So yeah, it's going to be hard, and they have to like pull it off somehow. So I think that's some very good points there. I think with the team, I think we kind of nailed it here. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the gameplay. As again, like most of you saw the gameplay, that's kind of what got me in. To be honest, if I saw this project, so I mean, shout out to the community and like how hyped, like how much belief there is in there. But if I did not, to be honest, if I did not see this gameplay of like showing they can actually pull off some good stuff visually, I would say, okay, whatever. I would not really pay that much attention to this project. Like, okay, they have visions, they have like good plans, whatever, but I don't really see like specific execution. So then I would not be like that hyped about it. But I think the whole gameplay teaser is like a good proof of concept by them. I think it got like 700K views pretty fast in like only a few days, and it showed. I think it looked very, very good aesthetically. I think the visuals are pretty good. The mechanics seemed okay. I do agree with you, Ricky. It did seem like a bit laggy at some points with the frame rates and everything. Again, maybe optimization for a game to run on a specific frame rates probably not that easy. I don't know. So you probably need some experience there as well. But the gameplay preview was very, very good, I would say. Again, I know I asked this in the beginning, but yeah, did you guys find that as being promising? Did you guys find it as being like a good preview of like, okay, if they pull something like this off, which actually works, this is going to be very good? What do you guys like think about that preview there?
Well, I was trying to figure out if there's something else except the gameplay to look for in the game. So the only good part of it would be the partnership with Illuvium. It indicates that it will be like a really good game and a reliable game. Because in terms of visuals, there were lots of games that looked good at certain times and failed. I mean, think about Cyberpunk for once, which looks really good. But the first trailer I saw about like 12 years ago. So it took so long to develop a good game. And even then it had bugs. Like it took like 1.5 years to finish it and have like decent gameplay. Think about Days Gone, which looked amazing in the trailers, but and it was backed by PlayStation. But once it was released, it was like pretty bad. And look like on the Twitter and looking on the gameplay, it seems that like they're really good at marketing and making things look good. And it's like the perfect recipe to make a rock pool. Like make something look really good, because this is like the easiest thing. It'd be hard to like make gameplay, like good gameplay and good mechanics and good story and make a rock pool. But you can make like great visuals because it's way easier. Feeling on it. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
You can find on YouTube lots of like gameplays made by fans, like Superman gameplays and things like that look good. And maybe if you invest in it, it can look like way better than this. But for now, I'm not sold on it. I don't know. Yeah.
The issue from our side is like, we don't know exactly how easy it is to like pull something like this off. I know, they're generating the all the buildings individually. I know, like, I think, the visuals are not enough, but I do like, on top of, aside from the visuals, they like the city being 1-to-1 with Miami, having some, compared to the, like now comparing it a bit to like the Star Atlas trailer or whatever gameplay, where the guy was like walking around the map. Here you see a bit more functions you see more like, you see like some driving, you see some like engaging with different technologies, you see a bit of questing maybe. You see a few more, again, like a few more mechanics. I saw some clips, not sure in this one, but some clips of like climbing some walls. So they are going a bit further than like the visual part. But yeah, I think it's a good start, but I agree it definitely will not be enough. The good thing is like they don't want to make this into a game. Like actually, Dorji made a good point. Like they don't want to make this into a game. It's kind of been probably like metaverse first and like gaming experiences on top of that, instead of like, as opposed to like Cyberpunk, which wants to be a game in the first place. So it's going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting to see how they pull that part off. Not a lot to say about the gameplay. Like if you just like see the trailer, and I like that you have it on screen now. Ricky, we don't really have like gameplay objectives at this point. Like we know like all like the specifics we know is that they will have they have the car NFTs, and you'll probably be able to use those in this racing game. For me, that will be, I don't know, maybe I mentioned it in the article or not. That will be actually a very, very good moment in time. The racing game. How good is the racing game gonna be? Will it make people come back to it? Will it make people like hooked on it? How engaging will that experience be? I think that will be a big first showcase of like, can they build a good experience and engaging immersive experience? I'm looking forward to it. Like, will they deliver on it? Because they have been planning it for some time. Will they? I know Dorzi said like, yeah, for sure this year. Will it be this year? First of all, and second of all, if it's gonna drop, like, how good is it gonna be? I think that's if I see the racing game is actually it's very good, very quality, and also has an element which brings me back, that's not easy, right? I think Illuvium Zero that did a very good job with that with the land game, right, Ricky? We saw like it just kind of, in the way it's built, it is built in a way that brings you back. So I think just making a cool, fun game and just good visuals, even that is not enough. Like the game has to like have some ways where it makes you want to play more, come back the next day and engage with it again. So I think in terms of gameplay, this looks like, okay, there is potential they can deliver some good stuff, but it's probably not enough. And when they deliver the mini game, the racing game, I think that for me would be a very good benchmark. Okay, can they pull this whole project off? Or if nobody plays it, or it's kind of shit, then I'm kind of be pretty skeptical about them like being able to pull off the rest of the things. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
with kind of like judging them like this.
I mean, I think the first thing, I mean, Dorzi has a good point. I mean, they're only a year and a few months old, so I mean, we're being super critical. I mean, a year and a few months old. I mean, I don't think anyone expects, particularly a game of this grandeur. Or let's not call it a game. Let's call it a metaverse. A metaverse experience of this grandeur to be done, in a year and a few months is too ambitious. So we do need to criticize based on where they're at now and how much time has actually been put into it. I think it's more so, I mean, I agree with Florin. I mean, you can make anything look good, right? Particularly in a video, like, that's why post-production video stuff is like, you can manipulate stuff. You can, I could cut this in a way to make, Daniel sound like he loves this game, or I could cut it in a way that it sounds like he hates this game. I mean, the same thing can be done with gameplay trailers. What you release to the market or to your gamers or your community is very easily manipulated. So, I mean, once again, we're all quite skeptical. I mean, we've been doing this for like now probably close to a year and a half, just reviewing heaps of games. I think at the beginning we were very naive and we came in like I guarantee you, if you showed us this project a year and a half ago when we first started this group, we would have all been jumping up and down. We would have been like, everyone would have had their wallets open. We would have been buying the token now. But I think now that we've actually been reviewing games and been in the space for now at least 18 months, you know, I think we've got a lot of experience now, and we can, you know, we're very skeptical people. So, you know, but I mean, in terms of this is the thing. If the mini games are good, and I think there needs to be a big emphasis on the social thing, right? Can someone make a metaverse that innovates how people interact socially? So, you know, like, yeah, mini games are fun. I mean, yeah, they're going to have leaderboards and competitions and stuff like that, I'm assuming. But I feel like that's not enough. You need something to, like, I don't know. I feel like that's not enough. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Unfortunately, if I did, I probably wouldn't be sitting in this. I'd be making a metaverse on my own. But yeah, I think, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you feel like mini games is going to be enough to get people in, or do we think that there needs to be a little bit more?
I think it has to be something more overarching, and I know they have plans in that direction of like how like they will have industries and they will have different like DAOs around specific, like around all these kind of industries. I know it's going to be more intricate, but I did not really see like some specifics there. But I know like they have all these kind of like plans, and they have like different visions of like how they will make it more interesting and engaging of an experience. But I did not really see something like very well put together, like really, okay, this is the plan, this is how it's gonna work. I did not really see something like that, but I guess they do have a plan of like, okay, we need to have this whole experience engaging, not like people just come and walk around the map. There should be more than that. So yeah, like flexing your car, flexing your shoes, somehow like having some gameplay around there. Like I saw they want to like, you're battling, actually something I did not mention, something like you're battling some like dark forces that maybe like came through this portal you saw in the beginning of the video, some dark forces. Maybe you get like, you get like allies with your friend and you fight these dark forces together. They'll probably have something more overarching.
That's actually what I wanted to ask you, Daniel, since you've researched the project more. So are there any weapons in this game? Because I've noticed on the preview, on the bottom right corner, there's the HUD says unarmed bare fists. So that leaves me under the impression that there are probably going to be some weapons, and probably going to open up some NFTs in that direction, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would guess so as well. Yeah, like there, I did not see anything about that, like some specifics there, but yeah, like from that visual of like that bare fist and whatever, yeah, I guess you will be able to be armed to fight these like said dark forces. So okay, there will be doors instead as well. So yeah, I think that makes sense since they left like some place on the HUD for the weapon as well. But yeah, so I don't know specifics around that.
Yeah.
But, okay,
maybe somewhere along the lines about GTA Online, more of an experience could be.
Yeah, it did come across maybe like the visuals there and the mechanics kind of came across as kind of like GTA 5-ish, like as being at least the inspiration. So yeah, by the way, I would like start sharing the screen like when we're talking. So I have this, most of the screen is like us talking when there's not much going on the presentation when we're discussing the parts. Yes, that's the thing, right? Like the gameplay, we don't really like know about a lot about it, like how they would put it off. From one of the founders, he said like the citizens of Wilder Nation will be able to explore unbound creativity, form alliances to battle dark forces, build a metaverse arsenal, and attend exciting social events. So again, like metaverse stuff. I guess that's all we have to go off of right now in terms of gameplay, and looking forward to the racing game. Okay, let me get the screen back up to move on. I think my cleaning lady will come here soon, but I'll just let her in and tell her to do her thing. Okay, so another very interesting area is like this tokenomics part. Also curious what you guys will think about this, because this was not easily found. Okay, it's not. It is easy to find again if you're part of the community and if you ask around. But if you're like someone like, I don't know, like I was, or like someone that just want to know, like, okay, I want to buy the token, I want to like invest in the game. How are the tokenomics like? Because we're not just like some noob that, okay, I just buy the token. I want to know how the structure is, how their incentives are, how is it gonna be like the release, who are the like, how is like the investors, like what the unlock, and all of these kind of stuff, like this tokenomic stuff. But they don't really have that. They only have like fixed supply 500 million. They will have that it's gonna be a governance token for the Wilderworld DAO, and that the revenue will be distributed back. 100% of the revenue will be distributed back. That's all the info you get, basically. After some digging, and they actually have a command for that, I actually found this picture of their. Can I make this bigger? Okay, maybe I can make this a bit bigger. Can you guys? Yeah, okay. Now it should be easier to see for you guys as well. So this is the tokenomics page. Obviously, now the market cap is 40 million. So this is way earlier, maybe something somewhat from the beginning. So what are we thinking here about like the distribution? We see like the team is 25%. I'm curious, like, like how much does the team control? Because if we have a team, okay, 25%, but it's like community building under the team control as well. If it's marketing and liquidity under the team control as well, we get like to 45, right? If we have like some partners, ecosystem, again, like some part of that, we get actually like the team controlling quite a bit of the supply. Or am I wrong in like thinking like this, or like thinking about this possibility at least? I know, like Ricky, you definitely have more.
More
experience with tokenomic stuff.
I don't know if they necessarily own it, but you can see how those things can be. You can claim a lot of things here. Like what is community building? The team is obviously pretty obvious. Marketing and liquidity. Sure. These are all fairly standard, across many crypto projects in general. I think advisors only getting 2.5% is not bad. It's pretty low, which is good. But then again, it's like what partners and ecosystem. I'm assuming that's like making partnerships with other Web3 projects. So, it's not too bad. So maybe, 25 plus marketing. It's not too bad in terms of total supply. I don't think, I don't think this is like a red flag tokenomics outlet. But then the question for me is, okay, even just the distribution looks okay, but like, what does the token do? So now, I don't know. You mentioned earlier.
Age-old question.
You mentioned earlier that 100% revenue. Am I receiving revenue based on how many tokens I have? Because obviously that would be very good if that is true. Do you want to explain specifically what the tokens do?
Well, I think that's one of the issues. I don't think there's a lot of clarity around that, at least from my end, for like being in this, I guess, only 2 days straight. I think there's again a lot of information asymmetry from from how this goes, how this looks. We just know it's probably, you'll be able to vote. The community will vote on the direction of the game and how they develop it, whatever. And you'll get the share of the revenue, but I don't know, like more specific than that, I don't really know much. That's and that's one thing. Like they have this token out from some time, and they have the NFTs out from like some time ago, and I don't think it's that clear, at least for me. Like, I don't think it's that clear what they do, what you will be able to do with it. And I think, like I said here, I think, well, maybe I was a bit soft, like a bit easy on them, but with they launched all of these and they are out of the market. So like you said, for indie developers or like just independent creators, companies, it's a good way to gather funds, right? Like putting out a token, putting out like the NFTs. So it can give them like a few years of like building power, right? Like until they have a more finished project and they can generate revenue. They give it like them some leeway. But the issue is like, how do you value the token? How do you value the NFTs? If you don't know how they will be used in game, right? We saw that with Treeverse, right? Like you brought like Treeverse like recently, like 1-2 weeks ago, and we saw like the NFTs were like the floor was like like something crazy, like $17,000. But you don't know even like how the NFTs exactly will be used in game. So when you have a token and some NFTs that you don't know, like you cannot, as a buyer, as an investor, you cannot really know their utility exactly. You cannot estimate their value properly, right? You cannot, okay, how will this be used and how much is it worth? So yeah, I think that's a bit inauthentic. That's a bit like incongruent there. Some clarity should be provided, I would say.
Actually, I have some caveats about the tokenomics themselves, because so we have this part that goes to the team, that's fine, kind of, but then we have a lot of portions that we have no clarity about. Because, for example, 10% goes to marketing and liquidity. So basically, in my eyes, marketing and liquidity are two way different things. And if we use that kind of mixing when we advertise, it's like very unclear where and to whom all those tokens go, and also partners and ecosystem. It's basic. So if we sum it up, those things like marketing, liquidity, artists, advisors, partners, and team, and also there's the reserve that we don't actually know what this is. So if we sum it up, then it's basically we can count it up to, I don't know, 70 or 80% of tokens that have no real that have no clear destination. So that concerns me a little bit also.
Yeah, I agree. Like, also like combining some of these things, partners and ecosystem marketing, liquidity. Yeah.
To be fair, I mean, a lot of these are, I mean, if we take it to the broader, if we take it out of the Web3 context, I mean, these are, a lot of the things that they have listed there are startup costs for, companies. I mean, you're going to have to create partnerships. You're going to have to do marketing, like artist incentives make sense. I mean, I guess that's kind of part of marketing. The reserve is what's held in the treasury. That's pretty standard as well. So I don't know if I'd necessarily say that these are bad categories to have, or if they're, I mean, the only thing I think is a little bit ambiguous is probably community building. Like, what does that mean? That's pretty ambiguous. I think if you had to be super critical, I'd probably talk more so about the fact that the public sale was 1%. So I'm probably going to be a little bit unfair here because I haven't actually looked too much at the structure of the tokenomics. But the problem is when you have a public sale of 1% and you have 100% of those unlocked, you're going to create a lot of artificial price movements up because there's such a lack of supply. Assuming you launch in a pretty good period, and then what ends up happening is you have your 3-month you have a 3-month lock and then 12-month unlock. So by creating like this artificial price because of such a small supply, you can kind of create exit liquidity. Now I'm not suggesting that this happened. I'm just saying when I look at this, I could see that happening, which is obviously a bit of a concern for investors. That's like I said, I don't know if that actually happened. I'm looking at the CoinGecko graph now. It's hard to say just because during that period, obviously we had the Metaverse pump, and then obviously crypto was just doing really well. So there's a lot of noise in this graph, so I can't actually tell if that happened. But TGE was May 2021. Yeah, okay. So I'm just having a look. I mean, yeah. I'm just, like I said, I'm being super critical here. I'm not suggesting that happened, but if we had to look at something a little bit concerning, I would say that. But I mean, everything went up, everything dumped. I don't think anything matters too much in the last year and a half's cryptocurrency market.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, so I probably like overall, I would say, it's not very clear. It's like a bit of like lack of transparency here, like specificity, but yeah, not the worst, like not a huge red flag or something. And I know Dorothy said here, that's something I forgot to mention. Yeah, the wild token is used to purchase NFTs on their market. Yeah, that's true. You have the market, but on OpenSea you buy it with ETH. So like all of the NFTs, or most of them, are also listed on OpenSea. So you don't really need the token. You can just buy them on OpenSea. So not sure the utility there at this point. So okay, if we move on, I would say something about like the barrier to entry. Something I'm always concerned about. I know, like, you guys know, like, we talk about this a lot, like making it easy for new people to come on. So like making the game free to play, having like very, very low cost of like entry and trying the game is going to be essential to getting like a huge amount of people. And I think especially something like a metaverse that's very important, where the more people you have, the better. I would say, I'm not sure if my cleaning lady is here or not, but I'll check it. Let me take my headphone off. Okay, so here I would say the NFTs, the floor is like actually like 0.5 ETH. So that's actually quite expensive. But all the NFTs are very expensive at this point. I would say like nobody can the average user will not be able to afford them. But apparently these are Genesis NFTs. And this will have like special roles in the game. This will not be like your everyday NFTs. They're not like made for the mass market. If you have this Genesis NFTs, you will be able to be part of that industry's DAO and able to influence the industry. So it's more like investing in the revenue stream. Maybe having the land in Illuvium is maybe something like equivalent to that, having this expensive NFTs, because again, this is the whole from the community. Again, this is not, I did not really find this info just from talking to people there. You would need maybe one token to play, and the NFTs, when they go mass market, they'll be very cheap, like pennies and stuff. So, okay, the barrier to entry will not be that high, apparently, when they go like mass market. Now you can spend a ton of money, but that will bring you quite some benefits in game, but this is not required. Because said here, low barrier to entry is going to be key for fast and mass adoption. I don't know if you guys have something to
just before we
mention here.
Just with the tokens, it's just like, I always talk about this, but once again, it just seems like these metaverses are just way better off not having a token and running with NFT skins. Like the token, we just don't need tokens at the moment. Well, at least I haven't seen. Unless you're doing something like Illuvium where you're doing the 100% revenue and every token allows you to have a percentage of the revenue, then that makes sense. There's literal utility. But I think a lot of these metaverse things, they should just focus on selling NFT skins. Like, you don't need to venture into the token, the NFTs.
Give me a sec.
Yeah, people can get value from skins. We see it in traditional games already. We don't need, there already is a market for it. People are willing to spend, $20-$30 on skins that they don't even own, and arguably not even rare. So if they just stuck to NFT skins, I think they would do a lot better. It makes their tokenomics, their economy a lot easier to manage. And perhaps if you are going for the metaverse style, I always think of things like, I always use shopping as an example, because shopping metaverse to me makes a lot of sense. What if Wilderworld had, because they are quite a futuristic thing, a futuristic environment, why don't they get gaming companies to come and, I don't know, sell their products in there? So rather than going through like your web page, you go into Wilderworld and you go through. And then, for example, this is I don't know, this is just an example I'm coming off the top of my head. You have like, I don't know, Razer or Logitech or something selling computer mouses, right? And if you buy some cool artist, collab between Wilderworld and Logitech, and you wear that skin, that is like your membership card. Those things exist in real life. You can get a membership card to, some restaurants, maybe a department store, whatever. I feel like they don't need to really innovate something too new. They just have to repurpose what already exists, what already works. I mean, a lot of people have membership cards. Rather than having a membership card, why not have an NFT skin that represents that? You go to the store in the game, they might have limited edition products. You buy, you take a cut, it's just normal business. That just to me makes a lot more sense with Metaverse. Like I said, that example just came off the top of my head. I'm sure it's a little bit more complicated than that, but we just don't need tokens, and having tokens to play is just a little bit, I don't know, it just makes it a little bit, like the even though the barrier to entry is low with $1, it's like you just put people off. Like, who's going to want to pay $1? I mean, we don't know how the specific.
It's like one token, one. Even still, token. Like having to. And that's not confirmed. Just like some guy in the chat said that. I don't know if that's confirmed.
Okay. But even still, like imagine you want to go and check this Wilderworld out, and you have to like buy one wild token to get in. Like, think about the effort that takes. Why not just make it free and then just like do a sponsorship, do a partnership with someone, make that corporate company pay for it because they were happy to, to advertise or whatever, and and then allow players to do that. And if they want to have skins, they can have skins. People buy it. There's value in that, in my opinion. It's because cosmetic. People, I mean, once again, there's nothing revolutionary with all these concepts. You're just repurposing them and making them slightly better.
Yeah. Birdie said that is official. So yeah, I guess like the one wild, needing like one wild token participate is true. So yeah. Okay, then if that is true, I do agree that I think that's unnecessary friction. Okay, you get some demand from your token, but I think you pay more in terms of like user adoption. Then like who's gonna where are you gonna buy it? And
it's like I'm gonna have to go. I need to change. I need to exchange my whatever ETH, USDC, whatever you're using to wild token, and then it's just such a big effort. It's like. Honestly, I'd rather just, unless I'm going to invest in something a little bit bigger, like, like Gods Unchained, for example, like I know I'm going to buy cards. I'm going to buy to be fair, Gods Unchained cards you can buy with USDC or ETH anyway. So it's not even, the barrier to entry is not even that difficult. But yeah, having to change and move to a specific coin that you can only use on their platforms is just inconvenient.
Yeah. And I get how like, but that will drive the demand up. But like, but like if you're probably still getting a net negative effect on your ecosystem, right? If you're like putting that much friction on the user, like there have to be a ton of users in the first place there for other users to also join. How will those users join?
Yeah, or the alternative, which a lot of other Web3 gaming projects are doing, is create a really good experience. And people will voluntarily spend more than $1. They'll voluntarily spend $50, $100, and then the whales might spend $1,000, or even the mega whales might spend thousands and thousands of dollars voluntarily. Yeah. If you force people, like what that approach is so much better. Like when you force people to put $1 in, you're just gonna lose. Yeah, like you said, you're just gonna lose so much interest.
Yeah, exactly. Here, actually, you get worse off. And I do agree, like, the token, I don't know, like, is it like that's important? Like, I know, like, revenue. Okay, you get, like, back some revenue. But what's revenue? They're not generating revenue at this point, right? Like, they don't have a game that is generating revenue. I see how, like, you got some stuff, you get some free stuff, you have NFTs. I know, actually, this, like, 2 days ago, people who had NFTs, they got airdropped. So some extra stuff, some cool stuff. But, the token, I don't know, like, you don't really need it at this point, and it does look like okay, there's just like a way to get more money, and yeah, it kind of comes across as like unnecessary, like you said. You will not use it in game anytime soon, right? So there's not going to be utility for it anytime soon, but I think it's a trend of like, yeah, have NFTs and have a token, but like you said, like, I think, do we really need it? I think people are not, considering this enough. And it's a good way to invest early. I guess it gives you a method to invest early if you're a believer. But again, entering Web3, they had to launch a token. Okay, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if I would. I mean, original like a
true ideal.
I think.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, if you're trying to raise capital, then sure, I get it. But, I mean, I don't know if you necessarily have to launch a token. I mean, Block. Damn it, I forgot the name. Block Party. Is it Block Party? Is it? It is Block Party, right?
Yeah. Blanco's Block Party.
Blanco's Block Party. Yeah, that was it. I mean, that's a game that is quite good. I wouldn't say it's the best game, but it's quite good. It didn't launch a token at the beginning. It's purely did the NFT route. Yeah, I mean, I get it. They're raising funds for, they're raising funds for what do you call to develop.
Develop the game and build it up, everything.
I get it. But it's just like, I don't know. It's one of those things where if the game doesn't get developed, it just everyone gets binned and there's no utility to it. And it's really hard to come up with utility for the token unless you're actually providing dividends, in my opinion. I mean, that's the most straightforward way to give back to your investors. And look, there's definitely benefits for not using.
Hey, they made it 10x so far.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely benefits for not using to raising capital purely from the open market as well. Like you don't have VC control. You know, I'm fairly sure, at least my understanding, I've never worked in the VC space, but my understanding is there are very strict terms and conditions. Sometimes you got to meet certain objectives. You lose a little bit of control over your project because, you know, the VCs are demanding you to do X, Y, Z. So I get why that, you know, there's definitely pros for it. But, you know, I'm speaking out for your retail investor who always gets stumped on. It's not ideal. And as a retail investor, if the token that you're buying doesn't have a lot of utility, probably shouldn't be buying it, to be completely honest. Yeah,
totally agree. Like unless you're going to trade, but again, that's a different topic. That's for very, very few people. I think that's the danger, right? Like they gather all of this capital, but let's say they gather a ton of capital, like we saw maybe some other companies. They're just incentivized. Let's say they gather like $20 million. Why are they gonna work their asses off to make like a 5 to 10 year project to deliver on it? If they already have, let's say, the founding team, they're all like, they have like $3-4 million in the bank at least each. I mean, do they really have to work their asses off to like deliver on this like 5 to 10 year project? I don't know. It's like they can still do it, but I think it's less incentive to do so. And it's easy to get lazy, complacent, like whatever, just like, let's give them some updates. I'm not saying this is the case here, but I think just this model of like token first and NFTs and let's launch them, get a ton of funding. It's without being accountable for it, right? If we don't, I think that's the missing part, but I think that's bigger.
There's no accountability at the moment in the space. I mean, the consequences for not providing or delivering a product or a service at the moment in the crypto space is, I mean, it doesn't even matter, right? Like, what are people going to do? You know? And it's really easy to argue, like, I mean, you know, Logan Paul tried to do it. Oh, you know, my developer, you know, bailed on me, which, I mean, could be that's a fair argument. But at the same time, it's like that happens so often to the point where it's like, okay, well, someone needs to be held accountable. If you hired the developer and that developer goes rogue, that's your responsibility. You hired that person. They've joined your business. You got to take responsibility. That's what happens in the real business world. So I think, yeah, at the moment there's not enough consequences for people who don't deliver, and as a result, like I do agree with Daniel that yeah, once you've got a couple $1 million in the bank, personally, it's like your motivation probably goes down a little bit. You have less pressure to deliver, obviously, and particularly when you're anonymous. So it's not a great combination.
Yeah. Well, Aline probably knows some stuff about like some VC stuff, like how if VC investments work. But I guess that's probably what we should move towards in the space anyway. Like, okay, I'm not gonna spend too much on the topic, but probably like there needs, like with VCs, like you said, Ricky, as well. Probably Aline can confirm if this is true. Yeah, you have some conditions that you have to meet. Like, okay, we are giving you this money, we are investing this money in your company, but you are probably like signing a contract or something. You have to meet these conditions as well. And maybe we can actually make a segment out of this, where like how like investment, like token launches and NFT launches should like raising funds towards like through these, like how this should actually look, because now it's too incentivizing to gather all of these funds. It's like, fuck off, just don't do anything. So maybe a better model is like kind of the VC model, where, okay, you have a commitment towards us. If you don't execute on that commitment, there are consequences. Is that kind of accurate, Aline? It's like, that's kind of like how VC investments work.
Yeah, pretty much that's how it goes. Yeah. Because they kind of like put the faith in you regarding a certain roadmap. So that's why they support your project, with financial efforts.
Yeah. Okay. So like your VC, like your company, like the VC comes, okay, like you have to show them, okay, this is our plan. This is what we're going to do. This is the metrics we're going to hit. And if not, they're like, okay, your kind of like investment kind of goes to shit, or like, I don't know how that works, but probably this is the kind of model we should strive towards in the space. Because right now, like Ricky said, like, okay, then what if they don't execute on all of the stuff that they said they will? Nothing happens, right? It's like, oh, retail gets dumped on. And nobody, like that, retail pays the price, basically. So that's not very fair. And that's why having tokens and NFT launches like this with no accountability is probably a bad model in terms of incentives. Okay. Let's, I have like, yeah, we're almost finished with the presentation here. Let's see. Screen sharing. Yeah, I should be able to see it again. Yeah, the last point is like on there. That is why Wilderworld haven't brought in VCs yet. Okay. Yeah. Well, they don't want to get caught up. I do see a lot of that. I have this issue. I know Aline has this issue with some of us have this issue with commitments, especially with girls and stuff as well, like this issue to commit. But I think in business, you kind of have to like have this. I see this thing in there being like, okay, we don't want to commit to this roadmap, to this, but I think like in business, you kind of have to like commit to a certain timeline, to a certain like roadmap, and kind of like, okay, we're going to execute on this, or else there will be consequences. I know there is no benefit for them to have. I mean, they do come across more serious and more reliable, probably get more serious investors and bigger, but they don't want to get caught up in this. Oh yeah, they don't want the pressure to execute well. I don't know what to say about that. But that's kind of like the creative spirit. I guess they want to like be free, unbounded creativity, but I mean, that's not exactly how you run a successful business. I mean,
it's a two-way exchange, right? Like if you want money from someone to use in your company, you got to give them something, like, and that is your promise, or you're going to take accountability for making things happen. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit ridiculous to think you can just get money handed to you and just be like, yeah, no, we don't vibe like that. We just, we do work when we want to do because we're creative and so on and so on. It's like, okay, sure, you could do that, but don't expect to get people to invest in you. That being said, the problem is at the moment is the space, people are willing to just hand money over to people with very little. Yeah. So that's the problem. And when you start building this, I guess, precedent within the space where it's like okay to do that, then people are going to take advantage of that. And
yes,
I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying that these guys are taking advantage of this, but it's just
that's where the incentives are set up.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, the incentives aren't aligned, and unfortunately, probably in the space, it's hard to have the incentives align. That's why VCs probably, they make the incentives align, right? They're like, well, we're going to give you this, and if you want your next round of funding, you need to have completed this by X amount of time. If you haven't, then it's done. It's pretty ruthless, pretty savage, but that's just how it is, right? If you can't do it, then that's unfortunate. Whereas when you invest from the community, you don't have these strict conditions. You don't have anyone. Okay, maybe you have a few psychos who are willing to like rock up to your door and knock on your door and be like, "What's going on?" But in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty. It's very tame.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that's something we could probably keep that in mind and talk about this kind of like stuff in the future as well. Not much left. I think the strong community, again, like the Discord community is very active. Everyone is very warm there. A lot of belief going on. I think, again, the founders did a good job of like instilling a lot of like their vision and belief in like the community that's like very active. Everyone's very nice there. I think it's one of the nicer communities to be a part of. And it was very helpful. Like if there was not, if there was not this community, wasn't for this community, this presentation, this article would be way more shit, because the information they put forward and how they put it forward is very disorganized and very like a lot of the stuff I got from chatting to people. So the community is very nice, but fortunately they make up for the lack of information. It seems like if you are in the community for long enough, you kind of hear these AMAs, you get to expose to all of this information. And there's a lot of knowledgeable people, but there's also people like me who are like, okay, I don't know much about this. Even though I'm in this community for some time, there's like a lot of information asymmetry, I would say, but the community is very, very one of their strong points for sure. Okay, so thank you for doing this presentation. I think these were the main parts. I think we kind of covered the main parts about the project. I am curious, like kind of wrap up, like what your guys' conclusions are. For me, I would say this looks like a project that's, to be honest, like a low chance that it will make it, because the vision is so audacious. There's like huge vision. They're trying to do something very new. There is some lack of transparency in some areas. There's like, again, maybe we saw some like not too much accountability or like pressure to execute. So I think this is going to be like a high risk, high reward project. That if they do pull this off, this will be amazing, but I'm not sure what the odds are in terms of the project. Thank you, Dorzi. Very, very active, very helpful for having it. You exemplify what Daniel was talking about. The community is amazing. That's one of the strong points for sure. And I will definitely keep hanging out in the community there. But what do you guys think? What about, like, from my presentation, from what we discussed so far, from Dorzi here, is this a good project? Like, how would you rank it? Would you invest in this? What's the vision like? Are you convinced? Are you guys convinced?
I've said a lot about the project. At the moment, I would, to be completely honest, I'm not really convinced. It's got Star Atlas vibes, and we know how Star Atlas is at the moment. I would actually argue Star Atlas is probably in a better position than this. I think there needs to be more direction. If I had to critique it, I would say more direction with what they're actually trying to do. Like, it's kind of like goal settings. Like, if you don't set a goal, like, what are you doing? I kind of feel like it's that's the case at the moment. I know they don't want to commit to anything, or they don't want to make roadmaps, but it's just like, as I'm talking more from an investor perspective at the moment, I don't think it's good to invest in, unfortunately. Like I said, like Dorzi said, it only has started development since 2021. So we will keep that in mind. But yeah, just give us a little bit more direction where you're heading towards. Mini games. That's good, but that's not like an overall objective. Like that's probably some like time filling stuff for people to do within the metaverse. Maybe talk more about like the business model, how you're going to commercialize, how you're going to generate revenue. Like they're all the things that I want to see as an investor. As a gamer, I mean, yeah, the YouTube video is pretty good. Like as a gamer, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like you've got my attention. But as an investor, I feel like it's definitely falling in a lot of departments at the moment.
Okay, that's actually very, very good. I think that's a good summary. Okay, anyone else has like an opinion to conclude about the project? I think Ricky made some good points there.
Yeah, well, I see some red flags that concern me. I mentioned about the tokenomics that Ricky basically cleared some doubts, at least a little bit. So I will skip this one. But the second biggest issue I have, I think, is the anonymity of the team, because crypto in general and especially crypto gaming is such a space filled with a lot of scams, rug pulls, stuff like that. So in my opinion, it's a space you have to basically stand on your head to make sure you provide as much credibility as it's physically possible, and they pretty much resign from showing up their faces and real names. So that kind of raises my suspicions.
Yeah, they kind of have this vibe of like, anonymous, and then like, this kind of they're again like visionary, like kind of, I think their vision, to be honest, is more like 10 years in the future that they're developing right now. It's not very like, something that is not right now, like Illuvian, like something like tangible. So yeah, that's what makes it even like, I don't know, are they gonna pull this off? Is the world gonna move in that direction? It's kind of a big bet to be made. Okay, I think I think we actually got I like the diverse like opinions here. I think we got some pretty good overview, and I was a bit hyped. I was like a bit, but I did want to like highlight the concerning stuff, and I think we made some very good points on the good stuff and on the bad stuff. Definitely, I would say we kind of need more time. Maybe I think it's worth following. I think it's worth keeping an eye on to see how they do in the future, especially the mini game. Like, do they launch it? Like, how good will it be? But I think that will be a metric I am waiting for. Cool. Then, if there's nothing else left on the project, we can wrap this stream up. Have 9 viewers here. Probably this replay will be available, I guess. Ricky, maybe we post it on the YouTube as well.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it. Yeah, I think I'll just leave it long form and upload it on YouTube. So, anyone who didn't have time to catch it, this was a bit of a spontaneous stream. We didn't really have this plan. I think perhaps next project that we want to do on stream will maybe give people a little bit more notice so they can tune in and have a little bit more time. Have a little bit more preparation. Overall, thank you for the presentation, Daniel. It was very good. I think it was good that we did it on stream. This is for those who don't know us. We do this once a week. It started as a social thing. We would go and just have a look at projects. We would talk crypto. We'd talk shit with each other. We'd play games with each other as well. So, we want to kind of make this public now and provide content, because I just think there is a bit of a gap in the Web3 gaming space at the moment. Thank you for the follow, long sleeves. I think there's a bit of a gap in the Web3 gaming space, particularly because I'm not going to name influencers, but there are a few Web3 gaming influencers that I feel like are being paid by certain projects to highlight what I believe to be not so good projects. We're trying to provide that unbiased opinion. mind you, we're no experts. None of us have, have deep experience within the industry. We just, look at projects once a week and, discuss them.
We do our research. I think we
definitely do our research. I mean, Daniel did a fantastic job today. It sounds like he was deep in the Discord lab trying to get as much information as possible. So yeah, we definitely do our research. But yeah, I think we're trying to learn. And for those you who want to learn as well, you can come learn with us. Perhaps we say something that doesn't make sense. Perhaps we say something that's not true. We're happy to be corrected. Dordsy did a great job at inputting where needed. So we're all in this together. It is the Wild West out in this crypto space. So we're all learning.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, so you guys can follow us. We are on Gameonomics ETH. Plug us in. Will, if you're on there. On the chat. Okay, yeah. So Gameonomics ETH on Twitter. We have 49 followers or something. That's how you know it's us. We're beginning to make our knowledge more. I think we are more public. I think we are at the stage where we can share some value with the community, and we can help people make better informed decisions. And you don't have to spend 2 days like me researching this. Now you have the condensed info here. So I think that's some of the value we bring, and we're gonna post more stuff on the YouTube as well. It's kind of the same on YouTube as well, right? Ricky, Gameonomics ETH.
Yeah.
We're gonna start being more active.
And we'll probably stream on the dedicated Gameonomics account. Not just tonight was a bit of a makeshift. We're using my personal account, but in the future we'll have it all under. And pretty good meeting tonight, lads.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining in. I think the community was active. Dordsy was great help. Some people here were very supportive. Good to see all the interaction, and maybe see you guys with another project. If you want to learn more, again, give us a follow, and you're gonna be noticed. You're gonna get a notification when we do this again. Okay, then thank you, and see you guys.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
See you.